What is going on, everyone? Welcome back to the Full 90. Today, it is time for my Week 12 Premier League predictions. I want to give a shout out to Afif Hossan, who left their predictions on the previous video and actually got a nice little goal scorer treble correct. They did say that Salah would score a brace and he only scored one goal, but Giroud, Kane and Salah to score. I thought that was a pretty good prediction and it warranted a shout out in this video. So if you want to get a shout out in the next episode of the Premier League predictions, then leave your predictions, as always, down in the comments below for your chance to be featured. And please do smash a like on the video, because the last 3 episodes of the Premier League Predictions Show have reached over 500 likes, which is just absolutely insane, and I cannot wait to get started with this one. And thanks to all of the amazing support on the channel. This video is once again brought to you by the One Football app. If you guys don't know what it is, you need to get on it. It is a free app available on iOS and Android, and it's got everything that you could ever want when it comes to football, whether that's transfer news, injury updates, upcoming fixtures. You can favorite your favorite teams, leagues, competitions, and everything like that, and it's the best way to stay informed with all things football. And like I said, it's totally free, and by downloading it using the link in the description, you are directly supporting me and the channel and keeping these videos going. So massive shout out to the guys over at OneFootball for sponsoring these videos. And as I said in a recent video, ever since I got the OneFootball app, I've been more informed and my predictions have been having a much higher success rate, including last week. So thank you once again, OneFootball, for sponsoring the video. And now, as I said, let's take a little look back at week 11, because I absolutely nailed some of these predictions. First of all, Chelsea to beat Leeds 3-1, Leicester to beat Sheffield United 2-1, Tottenham to beat Arsenal and over 1.5 goals. I mean, that was pretty much a given, wasn't it? But at odds of 2.4, you cannot look past that. There were so many correct tips from last week, and I really liked it. Both teams to score over 2.5 goals in the Brighton Southampton game at 2.25. That was unreal. Both teams to score over 2.5 goals in the West Ham Man United game, with Man United to win and both teams to score at over 2. I mean, it was an absolutely phenomenal week. So let's try and continue the form into week 12. Kicking it off, we have Leeds up against West Ham. I think there's going to be goals in this game. Again, still not entirely sure if Antonio is going to be back, but West Ham, they've been doing all right, and I do think they'll be able to find the back of the net against Leeds, and I think Leeds are finally going to have, a win. I'm going to give them a win, a home win, and I'm going to go for a 3-2, and I think my tip is going to be both teams to score and over 2.5 goals at 1.83, and those odds are quite low for both teams to score over 2.5 goals, but it just shows how many goals are anticipated in this fixture, hence my 3-2 prediction, and hence my tip. Now, next up, a very difficult one to predict for me. It's Wolves up against Aston Villa. Wolves just came off of a 4-0 loss against Liverpool, and Aston Villa had their game against Newcastle postponed, and I did predict that Aston Villa would win that game, but there's no knowing how Aston Villa are going to go into this game, and there's no knowing how Wolves are going to go into this game, because Wolves are a very good side, but they did get absolutely humbled by Liverpool, and Aston Villa, of course, have had a week out. So I don't know where to go with this one. Obviously, there was Jack Grealish and Ross Barkley in the news for breaking sort of virus restrictions and partying and all that. I don't know if they face some sort of penalty and thus wouldn't be playing in this game, because if that's true, if Grealish and, Barkley were out, I would say Wolves would get the win. But I think Wolves are going to have to bounce back. They're at home and they are a really good team. So are Aston Villa. So I'm going to go for a 1-1 draw. But my tip is going to be Wolves double chance and over 1.5 goals at 1.86. Because I was tempted to go both teams to score, but Wolves could possibly get a 2-0 win in my eyes if Aston Villa don't turn up. So that is my tip. Now, next up, it's Newcastle up against West Brom. Newcastle, of course, fresh from a postponed fixture, and West Brom absolutely battered by Crystal Palace 5-1. I mean, it was 1-1 before the red card, and obviously when you're down to 10 men and you've got Wilfried Zaha against you, who's clearly on form right now, it's going to be tough to do anything really about that result. So I'm not going to, hold too much weight to that 5-1 loss. I think obviously the red card played a huge part in that. So I do think, however, Newcastle are going to win this game at home, and I'm going to go for a 2-1 win. I was tempted to go for both teams to score as my tip, but my tip is going to be the same as the previous game. Newcastle double chance and over 1.5 goals at 1.86. So the same odds as the previous tip. It means it could end 1-1, which I think is a very likely score. It could end 2-0 to Newcastle. I think that's a likely score as well. So I think I've hopefully covered all bases in a way that gets you guys good value. Now, next up, it is the Manchester Derby. And out of the previous 10 meetings between these two teams, there's only been one draw, because I was very tempted to go for a draw, but that statistic really put me off, and it meant I had to tip the balance. Now, I've been predicting Manchester United to win a lot of games, and they have been winning a lot of games. And the one time I did predict Manchester United to lose, they did lose against PSG. I also predicted them to lose against RB Leipzig, but that hasn't happened yet at the time of recording. That game's tonight, and I'm absolutely buzzing, but I think I'm going to have to give the edge to Manchester City. But don't come for me, Manchester United fans. My tip is not relying on the result. I'm not so certain that City will win that I'm willing to put my tip on it. So I'm going to go for a 2-1 away win to Manchester City because, United have won the last few Manchester derbies. I think Manchester City need to bounce back there. But my tip is simply going to be both teams to score at 1.66. I was tempted to look into the penalty market, and if you are that way inclined, maybe give it a shot. But I think both teams to score is pretty likely because I don't see Man United drawing a blank the way they've been playing, and I really don't see them keeping Manchester City out for the full 90. Now, next up is Everton up against Chelsea. Everton, they got a draw against Burnley, but they managed to not lose, and they have been on a pretty ropey run of form. I think at Goodison Park, they are a little bit better. I'm going to back them to score a couple of goals against Chelsea, but I think Chelsea are going to win this one. So I'm going to go. I'm just going to push the boat out. I'm basically trying not to give another 2-1 score prediction here. Maybe I should give a 3-1. Maybe I should do that instead. That's what I'm going to do. I was going to go for a 4-2 Chelsea win, but I've predicted multiple 3-1 wins for Chelsea this season. So I'm going to go for a 3-1 win to Chelsea, and my tip is going to be Chelsea to win at 1.75. Now, obviously, my safe tip recently has always been Chelsea winning over 1.5 goals at about odds of 1.75, but Everton are a team that sometimes keep it really tight. They sometimes have very low-scoring games, so I'm just doing the tip as Chelsea to win to allow for a 1-0 win in case there is a low-scoring game on the cards. Now, next up, it is Southampton up against Sheffield United. Southampton with a good win against Brighton, given that they didn't play fantastically well. Danny Ings came on as a substitute and ended up scoring the winner. It was a penalty. I think Southampton are going to be comfortable enough here to get the win against Sheffield United. I mean, Sheffield United are in a lot of trouble. They can't pick up any points to save their lives. It looked like they were going to get a point against Leicester, and then they just caught napping. Vardy gets the goal at the end. So I think Sheffield United aren't going to be able to get anything from this game. I'm going to go for a 2-0 one to Southampton, and my tip is simply Southampton to win. Now, next up, it is Crystal Palace up against Tottenham, and I've got to say I'm very impressed with Tottenham. Like, yes, in the North London derby, Arsenal had double the possession Tottenham had. They had so many attacks, but Tottenham's defence was just so good. Arsenal lacked the finishing touch, and Tottenham going forward, they took their chances superbly. Heung-min Son's goal was fantastic. You knew as soon as he cut in, it was going to be a goal. And Harry Kane, I mean, how he squeezed that in. I thought, in a way, the defender did the right thing to kind of push him further to the side, but he just scored an unreal, unstoppable angle. So, I mean, fair play. But I think Tottenham are going to win this one. Palace could score, obviously, after scoring 5 against West Brom, scoring 5, I think, away from home for their first time in league history. They're looking to score more goals, but I don't know if they will. My prediction is going to be 3-0 to Tottenham, but if Palace do score, I still think Tottenham will win, so that plays into my tip, which is going to be the same as last week. Tottenham win and over 1.5 goals, this time at 2.05, which is pretty decent in my opinion. Now, next up is Fulham up against Liverpool, and I think I've found some cracking value here. I didn't know why it was this high in value, but there we go. So Fulham, obviously, they're struggling this season. They're not doing great. They lost 2-0 to Manchester City, which was quite uninspiring. They weren't absolutely destroyed. In fact, one of my only tips that didn't come true last week were Manchester City to win and both teams to score, because obviously Fulham failed to find the back of the net. So I think this is going to be a convincing win for Liverpool, and there's multiple markets you could look at here. So my tip, first of all, is going to be Liverpool half-time, Liverpool full-time. So Liverpool to be winning at half-time and then win the game at 2.0. If you want to go for a Liverpool -1 handicap, so to win by 2 or more goals, that's 1.9. And if you wanted to combine the two, half-time, full-time, and to win by 2 or more goals, that's 2.5. So that is definitely a shout, I would say. So I'm going to go for that 3-0 win to Liverpool. I think they'll win convincingly, and Liverpool do usually score in the first half and take a lead into the half-time break. Now, next up, it is Arsenal up against Burnley. Now, the last few times Arsenal have played Burnley at the Emirates, they've won. You'd expect Arsenal to win at home. You'd expect them to win against Burnley. But they have conceded goals against Burnley as well. And with Arsenal not looking great at the moment, it's not been a great start to the season, all things considered. I can see Burnley trying to take advantage of that and getting a goal, but I still think Arsenal should win this game. So this tip is a risky tip. I will put this out there right now. There are obviously safer tips I could say. I could say, I don't know, Arsenal to win or over 1.5 goals or something like that. So maybe if you're looking for like an ACCA booster, maybe consider one of those. But if you're willing to risk it a little bit, I'm going to go for an Arsenal 2-1 win. So quite close, but my tip is going to be Arsenal to win and both teams to score at 3.5 because I just couldn't look past that value. Now, next up and the final game, it is Leicester up against Brighton. Leicester getting a late winner up against Sheffield United, and Brighton conceding a late-ish loser against Southampton. And Leicester have beaten Brighton a fair few times recently. It's usually like 1-0, 2-0, but Brighton have been playing better football lately, so I do think they're going to get a goal. But I'm going to give Leicester the win just about at the King Power Stadium. They do tend to perform quite well there, so I'm going to go for a 2-1 win to Leicester. But my tip, and this is an interesting one, I don't think I've ever combined these two, it's Leicester double chance and both teams to score. So Leicester to draw a win and both teams to score. So that means it could be 1-1, it could be 2-1 as I predicted here, 3-1, 3-2, 2-2, something like that. That is my tip at 2.15. I think that value is pretty damn good. I do see Brighton scoring, the way they've been attacking and the way Leicester have been a little bit vulnerable at the back recently. So that is going to do it for my Week 12 predictions of the Premier League. If you did enjoy it, then please do, as always, leave a like on the video, leave your predictions down in the comments below, and massive shout out once again to OneFootball for sponsoring this video and keeping these videos going and just supporting the channel in general. I know you guys like it and I love them. So that is going to do it from me, and I will see you in the next video very soon.